Apparently we're live. Okay. Whoops. That was a whoopsie on my part. My microphone lost connection, which is very weird because I was using the microphone that was actually attached to the iPad. So that was weird. So I don't actually know.
Internal microphone?
Yeah, it says it had lost connection. So
Weird.
I don't know. That is very weird and annoying. So yay! Let's see. Let's take a wild stab at where we left off. We are in the middle of the Army.
We're in the middle of the hearing. Yep.
The Army versus McCarthy hearings, and
he had done some stuff to help out. Was it his son or his cousin or something? Or
it was one of his aides. It was one of his aides.
So yeah, to help out one of his aides, and so, he was like, everyone does that.
Yeah. So yeah, one of his aides had been drafted into the Army, and he was trying to get preferential treatment and pressuring the Army to give him preferential treatment. And the Army's kind of calling him out for it, and he's saying, big whoop-de-doo, everybody does this, and why are you making a big deal about it? I think you're just mad because I've got all of this evidence, so that you've got spies in your midst, that you've got communist sympathizers running the Army, and he's very full of a lot of rhetoric, a lot of nonsense, a lot of over-the-top Circus Barker type of calling people out. And there's a point where a photo is introduced into evidence, and he says, so the photo, I think, is just him, and not him, it's this person who was in the military, this aide who's now in the military, and I can't remember exactly who, but it's got two people in it. He's saying, look, there's no shenanigans here. I wasn't even here when he got this great assignment. I'm not part of this. And then you see the photo, that the photo was doctored several times, and eventually you see the original photo, and it's got McCarthy in it, it's got like the Secretary of the Army, it's got a bunch of these big players, and it's kind of proof that, in fact, you did interact with these people. You were possibly involved in trying to get this guy a better assignment. And so we see that McCarthy's up for doctoring photos. And then he starts going off about, this confidential letter that he got from the FBI, well, a secret source. He got from a secret source that he's attributing to an FBI file that is a directive from Hoover, where Hoover was calling out all of these different people in the State Department and the Army, and saying, we need to watch out for all these guys. Hi, Scotland. Hi, Barbie. And and he's attributing it to J. Edgar Hoover. He's saying J. Edgar Hoover wrote this memo. You guys have been ignoring it. The FBI has been hiding this file. And look, I have it right here. And then Herbert Hoover comes up and he says, I didn't write that. This is bullshit. Yep. You faked my texts. It's not real. This is shenanigans. And it made McCarthy look like a giant boob on national television. And, he had a decent, favorability rating. It was like, I don't know, like 50%, which isn't huge. But I mean, at this point, this had been going up. It was huge at the time, considering the circumstances. And it tanked like 17 points just here in this. And then he started going after one of the lawyers. And so this was another big thing that happened. There was this lawyers guild, right? And the lawyers guild was put on one of these lists that is saying that, they're pro-communist. And this lawyer guild was one of the few, lawyer organizations that would defend people against these communist attacks that were happening. Mm-hmm. And because there was previous cases where, a lawyer would try to defend their client, and then the lawyer ended up getting, in trouble. They also ended up on the list. They also ended up having to serve a year. There were points where the FBI was going in and breaking into this lawyer guild's law offices 14 times. It happened 14 times in 1 year, trying to get names, trying to find out the plans, how they were going to get defended, how they were going to defend against stuff. It was rampant. Like, the FBI was burglarizing. What were they doing? I wrote it down. It was a fun situation. They were They were using illegal wiretaps. They were opening mail. They were doing whatever they needed to do under the guise of, rooting out communism, finding spies. They were just doing it all without any repercussions, without any rules. And so anyway, McCarthy went after one of the lawyers that was defending. Well, that was defending. I guess they were kind of acting for the army in this situation. And they went after one of them and said, he said, "Hey, you've got this guy over here, and he's a bad dude. He's a communist, right? In your midst, this lawyer, your junior lawyer over here." And that set the whole place on fire. It was like, "McCarthy, there's no low that you won't go to. I didn't think you would ever go this low. You're attacking this young man who's on the precipice of his, because they knew it was, they knew that this was all exaggeration." And that's what it came down to. McCarthy would take any small bit of information, twist it into something huge. The next thing you know, you're in prison, you're a pariah, you can never work again, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, that he had the famous quote was, "Have you no sense of decency?" Right?
That's what it was. Have you no sense of decency?
Which is just so 1950s to say, dude.
It really is. It really is. But it was cool to see. And then,
what I would say is that is not very bussin' of you.
I find that to be a weird word. I heard. That is a weird one. What the heck does bussin' mean? It's just. But I don't understand how to use it. It's like it's like it's conjugated already, but you use it. I don't know. It's weird. Bussin' is weird.
Well, it's like busting it down, right? Like dancing. What's that one mean? A quirked up white boy who busts it down sexual style is not necessarily goated with the sauce. I think it's just ridiculous. They say it's not goated with the sauce, and so you bust it down, and then something is bussin'. It's just positive. It's like that shit bussin'.
It's good stuff. It's the heat. Okay.
Yeah. Bussin'.
It's bussin'. McCarthy, not bussin'. After this, he was not bussin'. They were not feeling him. The rest of the Republican Party was trying to distance themselves from him.
Dude, our first merch just got made. McCarthy is not bussin'.
Yeah, he wasn't bussin'. So now suddenly the Republican Party wants to distance themselves from him. They're like, "Yo, you took this too far. This is getting out of hand. No, thank you." And they're going to censure him. The Senate decides to censure him. They're like, "You can keep your committee. You can stay in the Senate. We're just going to censure you. We'd like an apology because you hurt some of our feelings." And he's all like, "I don't apologize, blobbity, blobbity, blob." Meanwhile, he's drinking himself into a stupor. He had a massive alcohol problem.
Yep.
He did kind of, he never stopped with his rants. He really thought that he was doing what was right by America, that he was rooting out communism. Perfect. That he was doing what was right for America. That everybody else was being stupid, right? He's the only one that knows the right thing to do. Everybody else is a dumbass. And so he just drank himself endlessly. They say he died of hepatitis. I mean, maybe. Or he could have, just destroyed his liver with his endless drinking.
Yep.
He sucked. But, he started off well-meaning.
Well, maybe. I don't even think that's true, no. I mean, the original speech, he didn't even have the list of people. I think
that's true.
He knew how to use rage to get power. I think that he saw a political moment, and I think that there's an analogy to be drawn between some Democrats who are trying to capitalize on the political moment of cancel culture, and then those Republicans who... Look, I think some of those Republicans are actually big fucking morons, but many of them, I think, see the political moment of what QAnon is creating, and they're looking to capitalize and dog whistle to QAnon people who have been satisfactorily convinced that there's a cabal of pedophilic Democrats, um, and they're capitalizing on that same moment and on the idea that they, like McCarthy, are going to drain the swamp. You know?
Yes, absolutely. And we have a lot of fear right now of any number of things, right? There's fear everywhere, and fear is a real motivator, and will keep people willing to make exceptions to the rules, right? To say,
Yep.
well, you don't need your freedom because you're clearly a bad person. Freedom's for me, it's not for you. You're a danger to my freedom. So
Fear makes people do crazy things. Fear and hope make people do crazy things, and everyone is prone to the fallacy that the people in history were the idiots that make mistakes. The people in history were the people that fell for McCarthyism. The people in history were the people that fell for the satanic panic. The people in history were the ones who didn't realize that cigarettes are bad for them. But then we fall for the same scams, cryptocurrency. We fall for the same nonsense. Cryptocurrency has some merit, but NFTs, go fuck yourself. NFTs are the same bullshit snake water fucking scam. Is it snake water? It's snake water.
Oil.
Right? Snake oil scam. Thank you. That we've seen over and over again. It's just that we've given it a nice little techie shine. NFTs are bullshit. We fall for the same, and the smart people, they fall for the same fucking scams, and then we fall for the same political rhetoric. We fall for the same.
We do.
And even Democrats give themselves too much fucking credit. Even the Democrats fall for the same political rhetoric. Okay?
We do.
We are allowing our politicians to jump on things that are actually in good faith and attempt to destroy people on the merits of those good faith arguments, and we fall for the same thing that people fell for before. We fell for the people in the 80s fell for the idea that this brand of music was turning people towards Satan, and now we're falling towards that same thing with QAnon and with this other thing. And even like you hear stories about like how every era has its anti-immigration thing, right? And every era we go like what actually made the country beautiful was the fact that despite those efforts, people moved in and they brought their cultures and they created communities and they changed America for the better, and that's what makes America beautiful. But that doesn't mean anything anymore. Now it's bad, and when people move to New York from Ohio, fuck them, okay? It's that, and stop developments in our communities, and stop moving to our communities. That fucking Harlem is for the people that have always been in Harlem. Yo, no one in Harlem has always been in Harlem. That it's a Dutch word. How many fucking Dutch people do you see around you in Harlem? Okay? Every place is constantly changing, and you are falling for the same lie that the people before you fell for when they were trying to keep you out. Okay? It does take on a different context when you're trying to keep rich people out. But the fact that these politicians will use that type of language, the fact that the people in their communities are willing to fall into the same trap that every community has fallen into before, which is that the people from the outside that are coming in are ruining your way of life. They'll fall for that same trick, even though they've seen in history that it's always a trick, and then they will co-opt it, and they'll go, and that's why we should prevent this block with just like empty lots that you're not allowed. There's no parks, there's no development on it, with single-story commercial development. We are not going to allow new residential units on there because it will only allow that it would only allow those outsiders from coming in, when the units that are being developed are actually protected for low-income units, but they will use that kind of messaging to push what they really want, which is that they work for the people that own the property. Who's funding these politicians? It's not the poor people. We don't have money to fund politicians. Even if we tried to, it would be a drop in the bucket compared to what the people that own homes are able to put out there. And the people that own homes want their homes to generate income. And so they say, look, you're in Harlem. It's a blue area. So you have to find a way to convince these people to prevent development, because development increases supply, decreases the value of my home. So prevent developments, and especially prevent low-income developments, because those also decrease the value of my home. So you have to do that in a Democrat way. And what do the Democrats do? They go to their Democratic constituents who actually vote for them, and they go, the only thing these developments are going to do is get rich Ohioans to move to Harlem. And I go, let them bring their breweries, okay? And let them Ohioize whatever the fucking, What is wrong with you people, man?
I mean, I see it down here too. Down here, you've got kind of the old school, beautiful downtown area, and you've got a bunch of new developments coming in, and it is difficult because it is making it hard for locals to afford rent right now. So, but I mean, that's happening literally everywhere. Rent is impossible everywhere.
All right, the new developments are making it hard for locals to afford rent.
It's weird, right?
No, because it's not true. Here's what's making it hard to. Oh my God! Here's what's making it hard to afford rent: the fact that properties are being bought up by large multinational corporations who understand how to inflate the value of an asset. And housing is an asset. Then they go to their politicians and they attempt to prevent new developments with this same language, and they use it everywhere. And they convince constituents that it's the new developments that are making rents go up. And how do they convince them? They say, your rent is going up, and look at all these new developments. And and that correlation is definitely causation, when what is actually happening is the anti-new development language is decreasing the supply and making it so there's fewer options to buy homes for actual individuals that would go and live in those homes. And it's in every place in America. And
it's everywhere.
And they're selling a lie to all of you, okay? The idea that you are going to be able to preserve your little corner of the country and have it be the same place in 30 years as it is right now, that's a lie. You are grasping for smoke, okay? The now that is now will not be tomorrow. And it never has been in America, okay? If anyone from the 1880s was like, well, my little town is going to be, I just want it to be the same in 50 years, that never was going to work. And it improved for the better every time, okay? It's always been improving, and it's always been politicians attempting to prevent you from realizing that there's a lie, which is that things are going to stay the same. It's never going to stay the same, okay? There will be echoes of the past that you're currently living in the future, and those things will create a sense and an aura of community, and those things are beautiful. And guess what? In 40 years, they too will have a beautiful community based on the foundations of what you're living right now. But you know for damn sure that in 40 years, that community won't be the community you have now. And that's fine.
Absolutely.
And if you try to make it the same thing, you're going to end up being a fucking fraternity. Okay? And you're going to end up hazing people out of your place, and you're going to end up making it a different community in the future, but not a different one in a good way. You're going to end up making it a bad and unlivable community by struggling against development.
I understand what you're saying. I think there's a way to develop smartly, but there is obviously a problem with people buying up properties so that regular homeowners can't purchase them. They've inflated the market. It's been very strange. But in terms of what you were just saying a second ago about, it's never going to be the same. I did want to kind of touch on some of the other communist ideas that were invading America at the time, right? And some of the things that they called red plots. So ways that communism had inserted itself in America, and it was bad. So we had child labor laws. That was considered a red plot, right? We had women's suffrage. Damn you communist women trying to get the right to vote. Stop trying to change my America. So we had just come out of the Great Depression, and so all of FDR's New Deal policies, so Social Security, there was farm security, there were safeguards on banks, there was unemployment relief. All of this smacked of communism and was considered terrible. And how many of those things are considered givens now, right? Yep. Our banks are secure. We don't have to worry about if somebody robs the bank that our money is really gone, right? It's all protected. Social Security. There's plenty of Republicans out there that still want to just get rid of the Social Security system. I don't know why they hate it so much. It helps everybody. Helping farmers out. Why do we not want to help farmers? I thought Republicans are supposed to like farmers, but no. Helping farmers, somehow bad. There's just all the stuff.
Social Security wouldn't have been so necessary if the Republicans hadn't gone about and absolutely gutted unions, which are an economic force, which is necessary for conglomerating the power of individuals. But no, all they've done is go and gut unions, and so the pension is dead. The pension is now the 401k, and all of the protections that the individual has have been lost to the fact that unions have been busted. When unions are, if you're a pure capitalist, a necessary element of the economy, because a perfect economy needs perfect knowledge and perfect power distributed in order to get the best deals in every interaction. The best win-win deals are not ones where an entity is taking advantage of another entity, but no, it's just that is why you're paying them. Why we're both trying to show it at the same time. That is why you're paying them. You are paying them to be an a-hole. Oh my God. God. The pension is dead because the fucking Republicans, and then they want to gut Social Security. And you're like, but then they want to bitch and moan about the homelessness crisis. They've made no efforts in the realm of mental health. The only efforts that they have is imprisoning people with mental health problems, making prisons ever more unlivable. And then that make no effort. They complain about homelessness. They send their homeless to blue places where they can get help. And then they bitch and moan about these fucking homeless when all they want to do is decrease safety nets that would increase the number of homelessness and increase crime, as those are directly related elements. They want no help for addiction, and addiction is directly related for crime. And the thing that becomes clear is that the only thing that Republicans want is a problem to bitch about. So they will create the problem so they can bitch about it, so they can produce these fucking votes, these clowns. And all the Democrats want is Republicans to look like clowns so they can bitch about Republicans.
Goodness gracious. In my mind, I'm always, it feels more like there's this kind of overarching belief that, keep your money in your pocket. You don't want to give your money to help other people. And, if you can't afford to live, that's your problem. So it's really not a very good community atmosphere, to me, with the Republican Party. It's just we don't care about each other.
If you can't survive, that's your problem, is a philosophy that you do hear a lot, and you certainly hear it a lot from people that are able to provide for themselves. However, when people can't afford to live, it really quickly becomes other people's problem. And that is the thing. And then the solution becomes law enforcement, but law enforcement only protects where the capital is, yep. Right? And so the solution is law enforcement. But yeah, what you find really quickly is when somebody doesn't have the ability to provide for themselves, they will make it a problem for other people. And is it the country's responsibility to offer people the ability to provide for themselves? Because if you're not doing that, if you're not at the very least making it so that every individual has something that they can do to provide for themselves, then you are asking for crimes of necessity.
Yeah. Yeah, all of it. I mean, it just compounds. It's one thing after the other. You can see how mental health, if we don't take care of people and their mental illness, it's going to be visited on everybody. If you don't take care of the homeless, it's going to be visited on you in one way or the other. If you don't take care of the drug, helping people with their drug problems, it's going to be visited on other people. If you don't help people, with a minimum level of living, it's going to hurt everybody. And it's like, it's so hard for me. Same thing with education. What is so wrong with having an educated population? What is wrong with the government investing in its people?
Yep.
It's crazy to me. Healthcare. What's wrong with a government investing in having healthy citizens? Healthy citizens can help to serve the economy. It's just like, it's a cycle that will fill itself if you let it. But
the main principle that I think needs to be applied in governance here is that if you're going to require your citizens to do something, you at the very least need to enable them to be able to do that thing, right? And we lost it. We had it for a second, right? In COVID, we were like, okay, we're going to require you to not go to your jobs, but we're going to attempt to create stimulus, and we're going to attempt to bolster up unemployment, and we are going to offer various things for if you have to cancel travel plans, right?
Right, rent relief, all kinds of things,
all sorts of different reliefs, and that was what was initially promised, and then they asked you to stop doing things on that promise, and then they fulfilled about half of those promises, which is better than usual for the goddamn government. But then they kept doing it, but they took away the enabling element of it. They said, if you have COVID, or if you get COVID in travel, for example, then you cannot travel on a plane. Logical. That makes sense. Don't give COVID to more people because it causes more death and it decreases the economy. Lots of logic there. But are you going to require that the airlines reimburse me for my airplane ticket because I am taking a loss for this decision? Are you going to set me up with some sort of a 14-day residence because I'm now stuck in fucking Albuquerque with COVID? Are you going to help me make that decision that you're requiring of me? Because if you don't, I'm just going to not tell you I have COVID, obviously, and then you spread COVID, right? Well, that's the same thing. That you take that logic and then bring it over to, if you think that people need to, in order to expect anything from the government, they need to provide. You, at the very least, need to provide them with the tools and opportunity to provide for themselves. And that doesn't just mean for me, Joe Schmo, average citizen, right? There are people born with disabilities. If you're going to require that they live, which you do because suicide is illegal, and you're going to require that mothers carry them to term by forcing them to have children, right? And you are going to saddle them with the responsibility of living in society, you at the very least have the responsibility of providing them with opportunities after their education and providing them with the opportunity to provide for themselves. And if you don't, and if that's not feasible, right, because some people with disabilities, just they're not able to produce in any sort of significant way, then because you have forced them to live in this society, you have a responsibility to allow them to live in the society without going out and assaulting people for money to live. Because, look, man, if you put an animal in a corner, they are going to do whatever they can to survive. So let's put the fewest humans, which are animals, in the corner.
Yeah.
But no. Make them assault people in order to access our actual safety net, which is prison, right? We go, we'll provide you food and shelter if you assault someone, and you just have to deal with the horrific conditions of being in a prison. And you have to deal with your rights being stripped away from you and your expectation of safety being stripped away from you. But hey, it's better than death, and we'll spend more on you individually than we ever would have in some sort of a social program.
Yep.
Makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Vote red.
Yes, vote red. Let's. How far back can we turn the clock?
but if you vote blue, they'll keep it from getting worse for the next 4 years. We'll keep it right here. We'll keep it right here, and we'll make sure that none of our policies are morally fucking consistent. And we'll jump on the back of all of your legitimate efforts to create change as individual citizens, and we'll say, yeah, no, we agree. And then I'll turn around and do jack fucking shit the whole time. And then when you say that you want a better party, we'll tell you a better party is not an option because the bad guys could get in office if we had a better party. Well, how about in this time where you have all the power, we put together some voting reform? Well, then you wouldn't vote for us because we suck. We suck big balls. That's a great point. Have a nice day. Vote blue.
It's exactly what it's like. It's exactly what it's like. It was really interesting too. So I think Dr. Oz from the Dr. Oz TV show. He's running for office. Is it New Jersey that he's running?
No, he's running in Pennsylvania. He lives in New Jersey. Not unlike the mayor of my city, who also fucking lives in New Jersey, the clown Eric Adams.
Sorry that he's a clown. We had the same thing in Utah, man. Same thing in Utah. So anyway, Dr. Oz, I just saw a clip of him talking about how much money his opponent has in terms of his campaign. His opponent has like $5 million or something, and Dr. Oz Dr. Oz had to infuse his own money into his campaign. And he's like, well, with all of the stuff that's been going on in the world right now, Democrats have been just throwing money at candidates. And so that's why my opponent has so much money. And he said it like it was a negative. It's like, well, yeah, bro. Yeah, because we are stuck in a system where we have to vote blue no matter who. I mean, except for Manchin. He's not blue. It's a lie. It's a lie.
Dude, fuck Manchin. Fuck West Virginia.
Yeah, and it's terrible. Instead of being able to vote people that are actually aligned with what you believe in, that are quality people, we are stuck with these people that you cannot get out of office, that do not care about change. They don't care about anything but the status quo. And look at where it's leaving us. It's leaving us with people that are making big changes, but they're making the wrong changes, right? They're committed to whatever fucking nonsense. And I don't even know if they know the end game. Somebody else is pulling their strings and has an end game, and they're just saying whatever they have to continually get reelected and to keep, collecting money from lobbyists or whatever. Not lobbyists. Can't technically give you money, right? So, but super PACs, whatever. And it's like, what are we doing? There's like no care for the American, the actual walking around the planet or walking around the country, regular Joe. There's no care for them from either party. It's all lip service. It's all a lie. It's all a manipulation. We're trapped. What do we do? Do we just let the Civil War come? Do we just let it wash over us? Just say, go ahead. Who cares? Take all my rights.
Right now, I think that we're more on the path for like the Irish situation, Ireland situation. That's what happened to Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. The Troubles, as they were called.
The Troubles. Okay, explain the Troubles.
The Troubles were a time of political turmoil in which there was massive division in Ireland, and in which British occupation was not helping fucking anything, and domestic terrorism was so incredibly common that it had become this political tool that both sides knew was on the table, was this or these acts of domestic terrorism, and politicians were being killed, police chiefs were being killed, and it was like it was a constant rollover of this. Of domestic terrorism, and it eventually had to be. It was eventually overcome, but it was overcome by an actual split of the country, and I think that we're headed more in that direction than a full-on civil war. I don't know how a civil war would really happen in this sort of an era.
I don't. It's confusing
to me. Trying to get Democrats to buy guns, but it's.
You should buy guns.
You should buy guns.
And the bullets to go in the gun. You should buy those too.
You should definitely buy those too. And then you should go to a range and learn to shoot it. And then when the range guy is like, yeah, just imagine that at the end of that barrel is a filthy leftist, you just go, uh-huh. And you just log them you're in your own little McCarthy list, and you go, when it happens, I know what side you were on. And but yeah, no, I think we're more on the realm of that. I think that we are going to see some actors. In the very beginning, we're going to see individual actors that are labeled as extremists who are clearly working for political causes. And I think that we're already seeing that a little bit. We're seeing some alt-right terrorists out there. I think that we've seen a couple of blue terrorists. We saw that guy self-immolate on the Capitol stairs a couple months ago, the scientist. And we're gonna see a few of those individual actors, and then I think that there's going to be one linchpin person, somebody that's in the public discourse a little bit, a YouTuber, a political commentator of some sort, somebody that's involved in one of the anti-fascist groups or the Proud Boys. We're going to see them step over the line and them do something truly violent against an institution. And then I think that the Band-Aid's going to be ripped off. And just like I think that it was Columbine, which set on this, we're now in an era of school shootings right now. I think that there's going to be a linchpin act of domestic terrorism where an entire body of people go, maybe this is, what happens. And this is going to be a method of suicide. Is that, I think a lot of people are killing themselves because they're mad about America and mad about how society is right now. And it just takes one for one of those people to go, if I'm going to kill myself, I might as well make the world a little bit of a better place. And I think we're headed more in that than an actual civil war.
It's like, is there a moment that can, that would actually get people's attention? Like, we see shit all the time. We've seen endless school shootings, and they get your attention for a minute, but they don't really, any change that happens because of it feels small and basically, meaningless in the grand scheme of things. But we saw, McCarthy, it all turned when he went after the army, and when he took it too far, he went after the wrong person, and suddenly America hated him. What's too far right now? It feels like it would just get lost. There's just so much bad shit going on. What is a thing that would even make a difference, where you would even notice or even hear it?
What could happen is Joe Biden could run again, and I think that would radicalize a lot of people. I think that the hubris of him running again could really be a linchpin, as most Democrats plead for the DNC to not force him into office again. I think that could do something, especially if he runs and then loses to Trump. I think that is I think that's a pretty code red scenario.
That would be terrible. That would be so dumb.
The names of these doctors that are helping people people that need abortions, access abortions outside of state, I think that they're going to get doxxed, and I think that killing those doctors would create some serious problems. I think that somebody is going to go out there and take it into their own hands to kill the doctors, and I think that there would be a serious reaction to that. What else?
Okay, so now I realize that this is maybe a sharp turn here, but if we were going to make a list of people to assassinate to try to prevent this world, the country turning to shit, right? Who would be useful to see? Like, I think, what is it? Is it Roger Stone? Is that his name?
We would leave that to the CIA, right, Mom?
Of course, we would leave it to the CIA. But seriously, some of the people behind the scenes that are kind of manipulating the Republican Party to go down the dangerous road that it seems fully committed to go down. When I feel like there are still some, just normal Republicans that are just regular old conservatives, but they don't have a voice anymore because the cuckoos have taken over. How do we get the people behind the scenes? It's something Stone. Is it Roger Stone? It's something Stone. There's this nutso butso guy who dumps money into things, and I don't like that guy. I really think we should get rid of him somehow.
Dude, the one viewer that we have right now is the government. As soon as you start naming names, correct. You start getting knocks on doors, Mom. I'm not.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, there's all these cars that are driving by right now. Wonder what I'm talking about. What's she talking about?
Bunch of black Escalades.
Ooh, somebody died. Somebody died here earlier this week, right over there.
In the trailer park?
Yeah. So there was all these ambulances here, right? And we're like, "What's going on?" And your dad goes and asks, and they're like, "We heard somebody fell off of a golf cart and hurt themselves." And we're like, well, this guy has a golf cart, and then there's this golf cart, but we haven't seen anybody, on the ground having fallen off of a golf cart. And so that happened, and then they were here, and they left, and then they came back again because that person died. It's very possible that he did fall off of a golf cart earlier in the day and injured himself and had a head injury. But yeah, some guy died.
You know the guy?
I don't know the guy, no. But earlier in the week, a warrant was served on him, I think. So, but he was out right away, so I don't think it was anything major. But I don't know what's going on. Something weird happened. See, Patricia's like, yes, Roger Stone. Roger Stone. Can we get rid of Roger Stone? I feel like he's bad juju. I feel like nobody would be all up in arms about him being gone. They wouldn't be like, oh, we must avenge the death of Roger Stone. No, because he's a piece of shit. Everybody be like, yeah.
I think some politicians would be. Or
they might find it a great relief. They might be like, phew, I don't owe that guy anything anymore.
Well, maybe.
It's just a theory.
Well, let's think about the things that you're talking about in a non-public forum, and then strategize on how we would talk about it in a way that it doesn't put me in a room with really bright lights. So
sure.
Yep.
Okay. On the opposite spectrum,
I'm on a walk already, Mom, for sure. So.
Okay. Right. But I want to keep talking about this. I just want to say,
MIT Ron, watch this.
Oh.
MIT creates the most terrorists of any college.
Oh.
That's how, dude.
I mean, they kind of encourage it to a certain degree. It seems like.
Well, I guess hacking is kind of a mentality that encourages it. But I mean, the terrorists do tend to not be from America. There are some, but
wait, you're saying a terrorist from other countries went to MIT?
Yes.
Oh shit. Well, that's scary.
Often some of the Israeli-Palestinian ones. There's a couple Saudi Arabian ones. There's one famous one that did some in Texas. It was a lady, and I believe that she was from Pakistan. So.
Oh. In Texas?
Yes.
Oh, I remember. Oh, I remember. I think. Maybe.
Yep. Okay. I'm pretty sure that that Ellie's dad knew, like, the Oklahoma City one.
What?
Was in a medical group with him or something.
Timothy McVeigh or the other guy?
I think it might have been the other guy.
Okay. Are you going to ask her?
No, she doesn't know. We've tried to go over this multiple times.
Okay.
Port New York.
I just think, like, if you go over after somebody like Brett Kavanaugh, that would be the opposite of a good choice. Because I think people would rally around him in some weird way. So I think that would be a problem to go after somebody like that. So I think you got to go after somebody
I think it was Timothy McVeigh.
Oh, really? Weird.
Yeah, it looks like, just looking at his early life, he was in Army school around the same time that I think Ellie's dad would have been.
Oh, snap.
Interesting.
All right. But we're not going to kill anybody, just to make that clear. This was just, this was just a mental exercise.
Yeah, what would happen? What would happen? Who knows? I'm just saying, if you're going to kill yourself, just I don't know, don't waste that opportunity, right?
If you're going to do it to yourself, you're saying make a big political statement when you do it?
If you're going to kill yourself, it's just like you've been handed a golden ticket, which is there are no consequences because you're going to kill yourself, right? So anything that anyone tries to do to you, put you in prison and whatnot, as long as you successfully kill yourself, you're scot-free. That was already your plan. That was your plan if you didn't do anything, right? So figure out the thing you want to do that you were like, well, but the consequences, and then go, you know?
Hey, I don't know if you know the answer to this question, but like, I know like you can watch, what's going on in Congress. Like you can go, and I think they have a viewing area, right? Don't they, like where regular people can go and watch?
Gallery, yep.
Yeah, there's a gallery. So could, let's say, a potential pregnant woman who is incredibly pregnant, she is in labor, right? But she's going to pretend she's fine. She's going to go and be a member of the gallery, but then she's going to go find the most anti-abortion person out there who thinks that they understand a woman's body better than a doctor does, and go and somehow get herself down there while she's having a medical emergency. Just deliver the baby and make him deliver her baby. That's what I want to see. I want to see some of these non-medical professionals that seem to know women's bodies better deliver a baby in the middle of the Senate floor.
I think that's a pretty intense plan. I think that there could be some hiccups, but I'm interested in the planning phase of it.
It would be hard to get on the Senate floor itself. You could get in the gallery probably, but how do you get right up?
Security has gotten a little bit more intense recently. Some stuff happened, and I think that they have tried to get it together. So,
yeah, it's just a theory. I don't know. I'm just being ridiculous. I'm just playing out stupid scenarios that aren't going to happen.
Well, everybody, thank you for listening to our podcast about McCarthyism. Once again, today's episode was sponsored by the NSA, but hopefully not listened to by them. We just wanted to say thank you again to all our loyal viewers. Ellie, I do like your icon, very nice. Patricia, hello. Scotland, hello. Barbie, hello. And everyone else that was on the original broadcast, hello as well. And we love all of you.
Sorry, we accidentally messed that first one up.
It was a mistake of two parts. It was really, it was a dual effort, you and I, to end that broadcast accidentally. But thank you guys for coming back. And we look to hear from you again next time, be it in a couple of days or next week. I don't know.
Yep. You don't know. But thank you for keeping us company. Should we sing it out?
Let's sing it out. I'll do the bass line.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom.
Here we are.
Boom, boom, boom.
Nobody asked. We're singing a song. Woo! Here we go. Here we go. Sing a song. Yeah, here we go. We're singing a song. Yeah, here we go. We're singing a song. Yeah, here we go. We're singing a song. Nobody asked. We won't assassinate anybody. We were just spitballing. Don't take it seriously. It was all nonsense. It was nonsense. I apologize. Okay. It's done. It's off. It's off.